to Mr. Kiley. You're recognized for 5 minutes.
Good afternoon, Mr. Secretary. A few days ago, you wrote a letter to universities condemning the rise in anti-Semitism on campuses. And you specifically spoke about incidents of students being physically assaulted, subjected to virulently anti-Semitic statements, being subjected to verbal abuse, finding swastikas on their dorm room doors. You said that these and other incidents are abhorrent, period. They have no place on college campuses. I'm glad that you wrote that letter. You recognized the platform that you have to try to influence behavior for the better on our university campuses. However, there was a lot of things going on there that your letter left unaddressed. So I wanted to take a moment to ask you about a few of them. For example, we've seen at a number of campuses, such as UC San Diego and UCLA, protesters who have blocked physically Jewish students from entering campus or entering spaces on campus. Do you condemn that behavior?
Thank you for the question, and let me just start off by saying hate has no place in our schools.
I understand, and I thank you for that. Can you please address the specific question? Do you condemn those who are physically blocking Jewish students from entering their campuses?
Absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think that's a very important message. How about the encampments themselves? These protesters who have set up tents on campus and are refusing to leave in violation of university rules and often the law. Do you condemn that?
I condemn behaviors that are unsafe, and I leave it to the university leaders and their board of governors to address how they handle encampments or other issues that are happening on campus. What I will say, but if I can finish, please. What I will say is acts of intimidation or violence toward Jewish students, or any students for that matter, are not tolerated. That's not, as the president said, that's not protesting. That's creating a
I appreciate that, and that's an
campus.
important message. But the encampments themselves, when they violate university policies and the law, do you condemn them?
The university has the responsibility to follow, to uphold their rules on campus and act.
So can you tell me right now, yes or no, if you condemn these encampments?
Again, those are decisions for the universities to make. I know that in some cases, universities are engaging in dialogue with students to come up with a strategy out. I don't want to get into the details of cases that I don't have all the examples.
But you just wrote a letter to university leaders in which you called out things that you think that they ought to do, and so I'm asking, is this one of them? Let me put it this way. For students, or whoever they might be, who are in these encampments, who have been told to leave, who have been told to disperse and move along, and are refusing, what is your message to them?
You know, for me, it's really important to think about this from the perspective of giving the universities the opportunity to engage, but keeping students safe. I think about those students who should be thinking about graduation, and we want to make sure that all students have access to their classes.
Okay, but for students who have been told to leave, or other protesters in encampments, and are refusing to do so, what is your message to them? Will you tell them, as the Secretary of Education, that they need to leave when they've been told to do so?
Students, all students, whether they have encampments or not, have to follow the rules of the school and make sure that they're not engaging in behaviors that are unsafe.
So students or others who are in encampments and have been given orders to leave, they should leave, yes?
If the university directs them to leave, they should leave.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We've also seen examples of faculty who have said, for example, at University of Chicago, that they are willing to be arrested with the students who refuse to leave the encampment. Do you condemn those faculty members who are standing in the way of the rules being enforced?
You know, my responsibility under Title VI is to make sure that students are not being attacked or harassed.
But do you condemn faculty members who are interfering with university or law enforcement efforts to clear encampments, yes or no?
I believe university officials should adhere to the rules in their university.
So that's a yes. You condemn faculty members who are interfering with efforts to clear encampments.
I support university officials following the rules of their universities, yes.
How about some of these universities that are negotiating changes in university policy towards Israel as a demand of those who are in the encampments? Do you think that's appropriate?
My responsibility under Title VI is to enforce, with the Office for Civil Rights, violations of Title VI. And
no, Mr. Secretary, you've been very outspoken on a number of issues. So I'm asking you your view. Do you think that's appropriate for universities to cede to demands of those in encampments and actually change policies towards Israel in response?
I think it's my responsibility to be very clear that we will not we will not accept hate on campus, and we stand against that.
We've seen some universities talk about ending study abroad programs to Israel. Do you think that's appropriate?
Our Title VI regulations make it very clear, and if you go to our website at .gov, there's a supporting safer
Okay, I'm not asking
campuses.
about your website. How about demands to cut ties with Hillel? Do you condemn those demands to cut ties with Hillel at universities?
There's guidance there for universities where a lot of the questions that you're asking makes it very clear.
Okay, but your letter said that certain things are abhorrent on campus. Would you say that's one of them? Calls for universities to cut ties with Hillel. Is that abhorrent? Use your word.
Violence towards students, anti-Semitism on campus, which we've seen.
Mr. Secretary, you're not willing to condemn calls to cut ties with Hillel? Will you condemn that, yes or no?
We are responsible for adhering to Title VI and enforcing it, and your support of our budget would help us get to that level. Instead of creating division, as I said at the beginning of my call, it'd
I
be
yield
helpful
back.
for us to
Thank you,
work
Mr.
together.
Kiley.
Yeah.